Hey friends, this is my super late entry for the NYX Face Awards. It was a struggle to come to making this video. Multiple times I've tried, and here it finally is. So I hope you all enjoy it, and if you do, please give it a thumbs up. I'm going to show you how to become a celestial guardian. One that doesn't take herself too seriously, of course. To start out, we're going to need a flawless mattified face, so I am just going to be using a mattifying primer and then applying a semi-matte foundation. I would say go with a matte foundation for this look because there's going to be a lot of shimmer and metallics competing with your complexion, so you don't want to be an oily person like I usually am. You want to mattify it so that it complements the look. Along with that, I'm going to conceal my under eyes and then buff it out with a soft brush so that I can get an airbrush finish. Since a fresh layer of foundation kind of flattens your face on TV or on screen, I'm going to go ahead and warm up my face with a satin finish bronzer and then use a mattifying powder to set my T-zone. Now I'm going to be taking a non-toxic glue stick and I'm going to be kind of concealing my eyes. I'm not going to go all the way for it and vanish them to the end of the galaxy, but I am going to be smoothing them down and keeping my more wily hairs tamed. I'm using a brush from one of my eyebrow pencils to comb through and then pat it down with my finger, and then after that I'm just going to go in with a little bit of HG powder and set it. Because my brows are going to essentially be gone with the mask, I went ahead and used the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk and worked that through them, and then I kind of warmed it up with my fingers to make it melt into the brow and against the skin. I also kind of rubbed it down on my brow bone to get a little bit of a highlight because I'm going to be working on that area later. Now I'm just going to prime my eyelids. And you want to smooth this out with your ring finger because it's your gentlest finger. It's not going to tug on your eye skin quite as much as any other finger would. And also work that primer up under your eyes because we're going to be using shadow there. I'm then taking a blending brush and this soft taupe shade, and I'm just going to carve out a little bit of a contour to my eye socket. We are going to come back to the eyes later and work mainly on the mask right now, but I just wanted to give it a little bit of depth and dimension and kind of drag out the shadow of the brow bone. I'm going to be taking an eyeliner marker, and I choose this because I feel like it's most similar to just drawing. And I'm going to be using the tip of it just to mark little pinpoints on my face that are going to be reference points for where I'm going to draw the lines of the mask. And here I'm kind of struggling a little bit because my nose is 3 ways to Sunday crooked, and I am trying to balance it out a little bit while still maintaining symmetry. For the best aesthetic, I decided to make the height of the mask only slightly higher than the highest part of the arch of my eyebrow, and from there I made it curve up into my temples and not go any further out than the arch of my eyebrow. So I'm using my own features as a reference, and you can do this too, and that way it can help the mask kind of suit your face structure. I decided to set the lower point of the mask right below where my pupils are when I'm looking forward. So I also put dots there as a reference point and then traced back to the end of the mask. Now it's time to go over all the work we've done with the NYX retractable eyeliner in deep blue. This one has a metallic finish, and what it does is it softens the edges of the mask without you having this black marker kind of interfering with your whole design. After you're finished tracing out the mask, it's time to decide what areas are going to have dark clusters of galaxy and what areas are going to be swirling and light and bright. So the darker areas we're going to use that same pencil to fill in, and I'm just going to make random areas dark and random areas light. And I'm going to do that by using the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil as a base. Now taking a petite foundation brush, I'm going to be blending out the lighter parts of the mask just to soften the base so it's not quite as stark. And then after I've finished blending the white parts, I'm going to blend the darker blue parts as well. It's gonna look like someone threw blueberry yogurt on your face. Sorry. Now I'm going to be taking this supremely neon pink shade, and I'm going to be using a dense, petite little brush to pack in a lot of the pigment. And you're going to have to go back and do this a few times over the light areas just to create the brightest effect possible. But it's really fun to build it up because it gives a lot more dimension for a galaxy. Now we're going to be taking this shimmery, rich purple with a very blue undertone, and we're going to be packing that in around the pink. Be sure to use at least one really shimmery shade on the mask because that is what's going to bring all the shadows and make them melt together, and it's going to give your mask a kind of glimmering cast when you move your face. And that is why I particularly love this purple shadow. Now I'm going in with this mattified cobalt blue shade, and this is going to be placed on all the areas in particular that we placed the eyeliner earlier. Even though these areas are considered the dark areas, it's not really truly dark, and that's what I love about this mask. It's got a lot of brightness and vibrancy, and this color just adds a lot more to the purple we just put on. Now I'm going to be taking this shimmering magenta shade, and I'm going to be using a petite blending brush to carve an ever so slight cut crease above my natural crease. I'm also very gently going to wing it out ever so slightly at the end, trailing with the shape of my mask. Now I'm going to be using my NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk again, and I'm just going to be taking my finger to melt the product a little bit more onto my lid. Now I'm taking this graphite colored eyeshadow and a petite little brush that I can get detailed with, and I'm going to be working that up into my sort of false end of my outer eyelid. Now I'm taking the brightest silver eyeshadow I have, and I'm working that onto the rest of my eyelid just to sort of make it pop and make my eyelids look a lot bigger. I'm also going to be bringing that down into my inner tear duct. Since pink can make your eyes look tired and bloodshot, I'm going to be using a flesh tone pencil to line my waterline, and then I'm using the purple eyeshadow from earlier to finish up my bottom lash line. I'm also grabbing some iridescent pigment, and I'm going to be throwing that as well on my inner tear duct because I want to open that up a lot more than my own eyelids are with just the silver. After a thin coat of mascara, we're going to be ready to be putting on a thin coat of eyeliner as well. I'm using NYX's eyeliner in Extreme Purple. Now pick yourself out some really dramatic lashes, none of those wimpy natural lashes. You want to know why? Because you're basically a deity. You're like Mother Nature of the universe, so Mother Nature of the universe doesn't tone it down. Now I'm going to be taking an electric blue eyeliner, and we're going to be using this not on every edge of the mask, but mainly on surfaces that look like where the light would hit, so just top edges. This will make the mask refract light when you turn your head, and it looks pretty cool. Now for the part that makes or breaks this whole mask. We're going to be using NYX's liquid white eyeliner, and we're going to be drawing tiny little random stars. It's important to make sure that this appears as random as possible, and by doing that you need to have them in different sizes as well. Don't be fearful if you get a few big ones, just select those as the ones that you're going to give points to. Now dawn yourself with your favorite jewel. One of my favorite shapes is an upside down teardrop. I'm going to be using this on my forehead, and I selected one that was iridescent because it goes along with the limitless colors of the galaxy. Now we're going to be using 3 NYX Macaroon lippies to create an awesome ombre lip. I'm going to be first using the shade Earl Grey, that's blue, then the shade Violet, That's purple. Violet, obviously. And then the black shade, which I can't pronounce, but I think it is Chambard. Now that our face is finished, we're going to be going back in with that magenta shade that we used as our cut crease, and we're going to be redefining our collarbone, but making it tilted at more of a vertical angle than our natural collarbone is. We're also going to be creating a second shade that's tilting along with the collarbone coming down from the neck. This is going to give my character a more alien feel, and I just love it. I'm also going to be using a smaller brush to get a little bit more depth with that same color. And then after I've blended it out a little bit more, I'm going to be going in with the purple we used on the mask and deepening it a little bit as well. Now I'm going to be using NYX's Roll-On Shimmer in the shade Platinum to highlight the areas that were left more blank, and it's going to be making those areas look like they're protruding forward more and just adding more to the dimension. Lastly, I'm taking the pink residue from the brush I've been using all along and adding a bit of that to my forehead to bring it all together.